Yeah, hello everyone. Nervin Reacts here, and welcome back to another video. So the other day, while I was searching for videos to react to, one video caught my eye, and that was Hitler's personal train, called forgive me for my if I pronounce this incorrectly. My German is a bit rusty. The Führersonderzug. I believe I pronounced that fairly well. So yeah, and when I saw the thumbnail of this, I just had to, though the Nazis were evil, I had to admit that was a dope ass looking train, judging from the video's thumbnail. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? I know nothing about Hitler's personal train, so yeah, let's start the history lesson then.
Hitler's personal train, the Führersonderzug.
Oh, slight mispronunciation, but still, a minor mistake. Subtitles.
During Hitler's occupation of Europe in World War II, Hitler needed a way to travel the continent and a headquarters that was constantly on the move. His answer? A train. Hitler first started using his personal train in January 1939, after commissioning several coaches between 1937 and 19...
Wait a minute, it has two locomotives? Okay, maybe that's for extra power, or because the train was so armored and too heavy for just one locomotive. But either way, I assume they're going to explain the reason why it had two locomotives later in the video, so let's just continue.
39 that were made from welded steel, and each weighing over 60 tons. A few months later, in August,
okay, so that's the reason why it had two locomotives.
the German railway authorities, the Reichsbahn, christened the wartime version of the train as Führer Hauptquartier, or Führer's headquarters, later codenamed America. But once most code names for German military trains were replaced on the 1st of February 1943, it was renamed as Brandenburg. The wartime Führersonderzug, meaning the Führer's special train, was used to visit many battlefronts and theaters of war across Germany, Poland, Italy, and France. However, the train itself is shrouded in mystery. We will never know exactly what parts the train consisted of, as after each journey, all documentation on it was destroyed, so it could not be used against the Nazis. Moreover, Hitler's personal carriage was blown up on the 27th of April 1945 by Hitler's trusted employee, Julius Gregor Schaub. But leaked information from June 1941, as well as extant Reichsbahn records, have given us some idea as to its basic makeup. The Führersonderzug was rearranged occasionally during its lifetime. Consequently, it would have measured between 300 and 430 meters in length and would have had 10 to 16 components. The first components were the two locomotives, initially only one, immediately followed by a flatbed Wagon, which was designed to look like a normal freight wagon but had two anti-aircraft guns placed on top of it. A baggage carrier followed the
Yeah, because when it comes to heads of state, especially one that that is generally hated by a few people, you're gonna want to add a few defenses. Sure, you can take out a train by removing the tracks, but still, if the Führersonderzug was very classified, of course it was very hard to find which tracks it was going to use, so yeah.
Wagon, and then behind that was Hitler's personal carriage, the Führerwagen. Hitler's carriage must have been sizable, because it consisted of two antechambers on each side, a bedroom, bathroom, showers, sitting room, and 3 guest quarters. Next was the Befehlswagen, the command car, where Hitler's staff officers worked. The first half of the wagon contained a conference room containing maps and 3 telephones. In the second half, there were 4 rooms which acted as the communications and deciphering center, with switchboards, a radio transmitter, and a Morse code receiver, so Hitler could receive important information even on the move. Next was the Big Light Kommandowagen, barracks for Hitler's 22 SS bodyguard soldiers and Reich Security Service, the Reichische Steichdienst, or RSD for short, followed by the dining carriage, 2 guest carriages, and the bathing car. Another dining carriage followed, 2 bedroom cars for staff, and then the Pressewagen, which housed Hitler's press chief, Dr. Otto Dietrich, and his staff. Propaganda was an important part of Hitler's hold over Germany, and it was important that the press...
Yeah, the Nazi regime, when it comes to like brainwashing individuals and keeping morale high in the public, what was propaganda, which is why, unlike why he anointed Joseph Goebbels to be the world's first propaganda minister, which was a job that didn't exist in every other country. So yeah, the Nazi regime highly relied on propaganda.
Went where he did.
You in position yet?
Working on it.
The final 2 carriages were another baggage car and Flakwagen. When Hitler wished to travel by the train, he had to give up to 2 hours' notice, as it was usually kept at the Tempelhof maintenance depot in Berlin. The route and any stops along the way were kept to an absolute minimum, and only a select few trusted staff knew information on where the train would travel. Policemen would be sent to patrol small portions of the track so as to thwart any assassination attempts, like blowing up the train by the Allies or anyone else. Similar to the Germans' other special military trains, coaches would often follow the Führersonderzug or move ahead to confuse hostile enemies. Any station the train stopped at was heavily guarded, and the platform was emptied of all luggage, carriers, and containers.
As expected.
Railway police guarded all entrances and exits, and Hitler's RSD commander, Johann Rattenhuber, was automatic head of railway police for the duration of the journey. Before each journey, the Führersonderzug was carefully swept for explosives or concealed weapons, and at the end, every account of the journey, from notes to written orders, timetables, and documents, were collected, counted, and destroyed to hide the train's journey history. Hitler's routine on the train consisted of consulting with his advisors at 10 o'clock in the morning in his Befehlswagen. Most of the rest of the day he spent supervising the ongoing work of his passenger employees. Few of his orders survived, but we do know he had a strict policy against smoking inside the carriages.
A couple of fun facts about Hitler was that he was a vegetarian. He he didn't smoke. He never smoked in his life, and he had a pet German Shepherd who was actually trained to do the Heil Hitler sign, the Heil Hitler salute, and yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
1939 to 1940, Hitler would appear at the windows of the train during stops. Greeting and saluting his crowds of supporters, it proved an effective way of bolstering his cult of personality across Germany. On the other hand, there was little Hitler's RSD could do if an assassin were to emerge from the sea of hands and aim a gun or lob a grenade through the window. Consequently, this practice was phased out, and he kept the curtains of his car drawn during the end stages of the war. In this way, the curtains were also closed over the countless Jews being deported to his concentration camps and the bleak ruins of Germany's once proud infrastructure leveled by Allied bombing. By the end of the Balkans campaign in 1941, the train was no longer classed as Hitler's mobile headquarters, although he continued to use it extensively to travel across Germany and to his multiple headquarters throughout the rest of the war. Whenever Hitler went on his private train, his car and plane would follow close behind, ready to whisk the Führer away at a moment's notice. On the 24th of October, 1940, after an unproductive meeting with the Spanish General Franco at Andaye the previous day, Hitler traveled to Montois railway station to meet the French Marshal Pétain. It was in the dining car of the Führersonderzug that the Führer and Pétain first verbally discussed a state collaboration between Vichy France and Nazi Germany. Pétain announced his collaboration to the French public 6 days later. On the 27th of August, 1941, Benito Mussolini, Prime Minister of Italy and Germany's ally, met Hitler at Anlage Süd to discuss their Soviet Union campaign. Both men traveled by train to a location where 2 reinforced tunnels were built 30 kilometers from each other. The tunnels, completed by hundreds of Polish concentration camp workers that summer, perfectly fit the special trains and could be sealed in case of attack. Hitler's Führers
I wonder if those tunnels still exist to this day, are still, there.
Sonderzug was parked in the Streishof tunnel and Mussolini's in the Stepina, and Hitler never once left the train. Each of the tunnels were 480 meters in length, 8.3 meters wide, and 12 meters high. They were reinforced with 2 meters of solid concrete, with the aim being to resist heavy aerial bombardment until support arrived. Shockingly, the enormous and expensive bunker tunnels would only be used twice by the Führer over the course of the war, the second time with Mussolini in October, 2 months later. There were multiple attempts on Hitler's life throughout the war, but one that never made it off the planning board was the British idea to bomb the Führersonderzug. The British Special Operations executives had extensive explosives training and were confident they could successfully blow up the train. The plan never came to fruition, however, as it was deemed infeasible due to Hitler's extensive preparations before his journey on board the train. His route was too unpredictable for the British to plant a bomb somewhere useful. Stations were...
Yeah, like the narrator said earlier, that Hitler would only inform the train crew 2 hours earlier rather than a day before, and that the train was to be inspected before he departed, and that any documents of the train's journey history would be destroyed once they have reached the destination. And once again, like they said, they had decoy trains to travel alongside the Führersonderzug. So yeah, it was the chances of actually blowing up, of assassinating Hitler's train was very little, if not almost impossible.
Were only informed of his arrival minutes beforehand, and he would travel at irregular times to throw them off the scent. To be successful, an assassin would need immediate and secret access to all this insider information, as well as somehow avoiding the surveillance of the permanent railway guards. Once that idea had been scrapped, a short-lived plan was to instead add 768 grams of what was called eye poison to the train's kitchen water supply. Eye was a lethal substance that would only show its effects after nearly a week and had no cure. The assassin would be a foreigner, recruited to wash the train's carriages, and would find an opportunity to pour the poison into the 540-liter water tank of Hitler's private dining car. While passenger food and bottled drinks were carefully checked, the British SOE believed the tap water was not. Therefore, given that Hitler was fond of drinking tea, the poisoned water would not likely be noticed.
Oh, is that so? I would assume he preferred the Führer preferred coffee. Guess every day is full of surprises, I guess.
When he mixed it with milk. However, this was quickly labeled as too difficult. Hitler's last journey on the Führersonderzug was on the 16th of January 1945, when the Nazi leader left his headquarters in Alderhorst to go back to Berlin. Although Hitler tried to destroy the train by ordering the SS to blow it up, his 2 steel carriages survived the war. They were split between the USA and Britain, who later returned the parts in the 1950s.
Wow, that's how sturdy Hitler's train was. That 2 of the carriages were so strong it couldn't be blown up that easily. Jeez.
The German Chancellor, Konrad Adenauer, used some of the parts for his own train, and other bits continued to be used until 1990, before they were eventually retired. You can still see some of the remaining cars today in various museums across Germany.
Well, this was very shocking, and though the Nazis were monsters, I do have to say that was a really dope-ass looking train. So, yeah, I'll hand it to them for that. And if I ever get the chance to go to Germany, perhaps perhaps I may find it in a museum or something. So, yeah. I don't really have anything else to say, really, because I knew nothing about the Führersonderzug. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, I guess. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe. Check out my Facebook page, link is in the description, as well as the link to the original video by Simple History. Go check them out, they make amazing content, easy to understand, yet very short and simple, hence the name Simple History. So yeah, that's all for today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!